Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. See some of our audience already joining in. Um, Welcome, Benjamin. Welcome, Olufa, Femi. Welcome, every other person. We'll just be starting up with a little bit of introductions into why we're here, and then we'll kick in with the session. It's going to be very, very, very mind-blowing session, I would say. We're going to be hearing from a lot of industry experts that have been in this been in the tech domain for a while, and they'll be sharing their insight into really what career transition in the age of AI really means and how you can tap into this very important dimension that's really taking over our world today in technology. A little bit of introduction. My name is Ikenna Noniwu, and what I do for a living is project management. I'm a delivery manager in one of the big fours, and it's been a whole career supporting deliveries and the large scale implementations. In terms of what we are doing here, the community is Microsoft AI Community User Group. I mean, the focus here in this community is from the name, it just tells you what the focus really is. Focused on AI, Microsoft AI now, more particularly cloud infrastructure, cloud itself, everything around the Microsoft AI ecosystem. We're particularly interested in sharing knowledge, helping ourselves to understand what's changing in the ecosystem. What you need to know as a user of the Microsoft AI tools or whatever, and how you can really position yourself for what's coming. So that's essentially a community sharing system that we are building, or we've sort of been driving all the while. Maybe I quickly go into the code of conduct. I mean, just to establish, how this call would run. The community, like I said, is driven by a set of principles. I would like to say, we expect participants, for instance, to maintain respectful and inclusive interactions. We also expect, we encourage collaboration, learning, sharing knowledge, like I said earlier. We also support diversity. So wherever you are from, whatever background, you don't need to be a technical person. You're welcome to the community. We also have a little bit of, things that we frown out, things around harassment, discrimination, abusive behaviors. We found out at those really, and it's not encouraged in the community. One thing I will have to add before we move on to other areas is really around we are very big on open source, so making sure that the knowledge we are driving is out there and known by everyone, and it's available and democratized for lack of better words. Um, so I will get into the meat of things, but just to mention that this call is going to be recorded. If you're not comfortable with that, I mean, feel free to drop off. We're going to record this conversation just so that, just to mention that the conversation recording will only be used primarily for knowledge sharing processes and to be in the public space to share knowledge with others. Okay. I'm personally excited that we have some very, very, like I said, very, very experienced tech experts, I would like to say. And I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, if that's fine. I'll start off with our guest speaker today. Her name is Sonam. I'll allow Sonam in the next few seconds to introduce herself, please.
Thanks a lot. So I'm Sonam, and I'm leading the DevOps and MLOps capability in my current company. And my role is the DevOps solution architect. And I'm pleased to here to represent the multi-AI community from the leadership perspective. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonam. Thank you. We'll move on to the founder and the community leader, Imo Etuk. Imo, do you want to introduce
Yeah,
yourself, please?
thank you very much, Ikenna. Thank you very much, Sonam. Thank you very much to all the leaders and the audience. My name is Imo Etuk. So I am a solution architect who is so keen on building communities and also getting a lot of people involved and getting to know this tech itself, not just hearing it, but you know it, you use it for the benefit of your career growth. So that's who I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Imo. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll move on now to Moses. Moses is a community lead with also a lead within the community. Moses, do you want to share more about yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Moses. I am a cloud infrastructure and security engineer. I am focused on architecting and designing secure systems generally. It's a pleasure to be here, and we hope to get the most out of this opportunity.
Thank you,
Okay.
Moses. Thank you. I mean, I'm sure you're already feeling the the quality of speakers we already have from Sonal introduction down to Moses. But we have more. So we'll just hear next from Oluwagbenga.
All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is Oluwagbenga Balogun. I'm a senior DevOps engineer with a background in cloud infrastructure and automation. And I'm heavily involved in building scalable systems across Azure and Kubernetes environments. So I'm really excited to share, some real life insights today. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Gwenga. Thank you very much. Next in line, we'd like to get is another lady that's part of the leads and apparently the only lady in the team. But again, Sonam is here just to mention. Let's hear from Anyema.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anyema. I work as an AI developer in the public sector. It's really a pleasure to be here today.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Anyema. Thank you for keeping that short and simple. Thank you. We have next Ezekiel.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Ezekiel, and I work with an M365 senior engineer. So my areas of specialization cut across enterprise content management with SharePoint, Power Platform automations, business process automations, basically, and a whole list of other Microsoft Teams application development included. It's good to be on this call today, so to at least share knowledge with experiences around AI. So AI is the current buzzword, I would say it, but it's good to have some clarifications around some of the areas of applications where AI can play a role and play a part in our lives. So it's good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you. And then we'll have last but not the least, Emmanuel.
Hi everyone, and thank you very
Hi.
much for joining the call. My name is Emmanuel Itoje. I'm a modern workplace solution architect and also a security architect. I'm actually glad to be on this call today to share with the little knowledge I have around AI with us, around how we can apply AI on a day-to-day basis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I like the way we're moderate with my little knowledge. But I'm trusting that it will be a lot when we start discussing. So for those just joining us, just to mention, we already did a little bit of introduction. Our guest speaker today is Sonam. Sonam has introduced herself, and we've gone around the room get a little bit of introductions from our panelists today. All very experienced. I think a combined experience of over 100 years in technology, if you look at it across each of them. So we are looking at a very quality session, and just to mention that feel free to drop your questions in the chat room, and I'll make it a point to always look at the chat room to see if there are any questions as we start asking our panelists questions. Also, feel free to raise your hand if you feel that the chat room will not be able to, allow you to express yourself the way you want to express yourself. Feel free to raise your hand, and then we'll have you say your question, and we'll get one of our guests to respond to that. All right, let's get into it. We've structured this conversation into three discussion areas or pillars I would like to see. We're going to start off with AI impact, and career awareness. What is AI? How does it affect me? I want to transition into AI-related career. What does that mean for me? I'm a non-tech person today. What does that mean? How do I transition? So we're going to hear from our panelists. We're going to asking some very targeted questions, I would say, and then we'll build conversations around these questions. All right, let's get into it. We'll start, of course, with Sonam. Sonam, how has AI fundamentally changed the way you view career growth and long-term professional relevance?
Perfect. That's the really easiest answer to me, right? I had the impression about AI nearly about a year back, right? So AI is the fundamentally change how I think about the career growth versus the long-term relevance, right? So in my early career growth, I fairly felt like, you could be specialized in AI, gain experience, moved up, and stay relevant by knowing what others are doing, really. But now AI has disrupted that model totally, right? You can't rely on someone else's knowledge because you have AI tool, right? The today relevance is less about what you know. It's more about how you adapt and learn, right? The AI can generate the code, documentation, analysis, technical outcome is no longer a differentiator. So what really matters in the context that the decision making, the awareness, and knowing where AI should or should not be used, right? That's the differentiator. Now, AI has also somewhat shortened the half of the skills, I would say. You can highly relevant today, but if you are not keeping yourself updated, you are the one who will be literally outdated soon, right? So that shift my focus from the long term fixed career plans to building a strong learning mindset, regularly upskilling, experimenting the new tools, and staying curious, right? That's only the key. So for personally, for me, the long-term career growth now means being adaptable, AI literate, and the judgmental driven, right? Which will help me to take any decision along with the risk. So the most future relevant professional won't be those who literally compete with the AI, but the one who knows how to work with it and generate the better outcome as a team. That's
Awesome,
my
awesome.
voice.
Thank you, Sona. I mean, one thing that jumped out for me really is when you mentioned that there has to be that learning mindset, right? You're not here to compete with AI, as it were. You're here to work together with it. It's a collaboration game, if I would say. Thank you, Sonam. Just cycling back or continuing in that same vein, I will just go to the next question that's for the founder, Imo Etuk, if that's fine, sir.
Okay.
My question really is around, in your opinion, and this is a tricky question, and maybe our audience will need to listen properly because this is a question that particularly myself want to get an answer to. In your opinion, which roles are most at risk of disruption due to AI, and which roles are
Okay.
becoming more valuable?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, to me, AI is not here to replace us. I'm just going to be riding on what Sonam has said. AI is not here to replace us. It's not here to replace any role, but AI is here to replace tasks within the role. That is, if you are not making yourself relevant, if you are not AI literate, the tasks that are supposed to be under your role, AI is here to drive them. And such tasks could be, I'm not going to be focusing on which role is at risk or which role is more relevant, but then the tasks within the role, for instance, those who handle tasks like repetitive tasks, like data entry role, that has repetitive tasks where you have to capture data. Of course, AI is going to be a data entry person. That is a task that you were doing before AI comes in. So AI is likely to take that. So that's is likely to be at risk. Now, for basic IT support, where there's a ticketing, where you attend to ticket support, maybe it's so AI is likely to take that task from you. And by AI taking the task from you, it's indirectly taking over the role, and you become being at risk now. So another one is also that, like, the rule-based tasks. When I say rule-based, I mean, for those of us who had a background in terms of working with workflow system and use Power Automate in terms of Microsoft ecosystem to build a workflow-driven system. AI is likely to handle that task for you. Not that AI is not making you jobless, but it's just helping you with the task. So if you are not relevant to being someone who build the AI system, who has the human, who play human-centric roles on how AI system works, AI is likely to replace it. Another one is also for AI augmented professional. I'm going down now to the, okay, I should hint on entry level. So let's be very honest and straightforward. Some entry level is likely to like face off, not facing off to completely, but there's going to be a bit of automation introduced that can automate a task that should have been handled by someone from an entry level background. Is going to handle that. So how the relevant one, role that are becoming more valuable, when you have the human-centric mindset, who can build an AI system, control the AI excesses, because AI is here with a lot of excesses, a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of hallucination. You are to be at the human interface who plays along with the AI, and those who has a system designed skill are mostly going to be very relevant, very valuable skill. If you understand the system architecture and how the flows, AI is not taking that tax from you, not role. I wouldn't say role. So that is what I have. A few knowledge I have to share around that. So bear in mind, take home is that the future doesn't belong to AI, but it belongs to those who know how to work with AI.
What a good way
Thank
to
you.
end that contribution. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
I think something that just to mention, I mean, that jumped out for me while Imo was talking is what AI has done, the benefits of AI for us, or well, because it's still new, right? Everyone is a beginner, as it were. Even the chief AI officer of any company is somewhat, the knowledge is democratized. So whatever they know, you should know, because you know AI is at the point where everyone can tap in at this time. And I also like the part where Imo also mentioned that it's not really taking over your role, but of course, it's taking over tax, right? So aligning with that reality is very important. Okay, now let's quickly progress. You know, it's a progressive conversation. Let's go to the next question, and that's from Moses, if that's fine. Moses, you know, there are signs that really professionals should look out for, right? What early signs do you think whether early career starters, professionals, mid-level professionals should look out for in their current role, if their current role is going to be impacted by AI, you know, for them to know that, oh, this my role is going to be impacted by AI, you know, what are those early signs that you think they need to look out for?
Well, I'd say when it comes to AI, as Imo and Sonam has pointed, AI is, well, for mid-level professionals, is focused on resolving tasks and getting tasks done. And you know, most professionals in our day-to-day or whatever we do, are focused on getting things done as we break them into tasks. So if AI is able to take tasks away from you, which it will, it's then maybe a sign that you should start becoming more astute with AI, get to the point where you can work with AI to make decisions, right? Because, for example, for mid-level professionals, if you write code, for example, you write Terraform scripts, AI can write those scripts, maybe faster, maybe better. And so that's the sign that we don't know what will happen next 1 year, but AI it keeps getting improved every month or every 2 months or every 6 months. So it means that you should also keep yourself in tune with that, to the point where the most important thing is being able to make decisions with and for AIs. So as Imo said, systems thinking, system design. If you get to the point where you're able to then design systems that AI can work with and work for, then it keeps you proof. But remember, AI is not here per se to take your job. It's just here to do tasks. And so when you start noticing that AI is doing tasks for you, and then you become a reviewer and not an active participant, then maybe that's the sign. I think another thing would then be, beyond reviewing and active participation, another thing would be, for example, say you are a cloud security professional, and then there becomes a role that is AI cloud security professional. It means that they are obviously, well, not they, but the AI system is being built to the point where it becomes who you are, but you need to be able to work with it to be the AI person that helps cloud security progress. So I'd say for me, those are like early key signs or early signs for mid-level professionals. But for entry-level professionals, the key thing would be do not come with the mindset, or do not build yourself up with the mindset of task orientation. Build yourself instead to system thinking so that you can work with AI systems and improve yourself. And like you said, AI is still democratized right now. So it means everybody is more or less at the same level. So even an entry level person and someone with 10-year experience are technically at the same level. And the major difference is system level design thinking. So those are early signs I would say for people to watch out for.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's instructive. Okay. Before we move on, just to mention, like I see a lot of our attendee list growing. For those just joining us and those that have joined, please feel free to just on the chat box drop your introduce yourself. What are your expectations from this session? Just let's make the chat room buzz a little bit. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it. I've also said I will keep my eyes on the chat to make sure that I do not miss any question. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Moses. The next question is also very, very important to me also, and I'm sure it's important to the attendees too, and that's for Oluwagbenga. How should someone with zero AI background, right, begin to understand the impact of AI on their career? What are your thoughts?
All right. So to be very honest, most people think they need to learn AI first, right? Which is actually a wrong approach. So the first thing you need to do, or you need to think about, is to understand how is this AI, affecting what you are already doing. Okay. So think of AI as not a replacement, but a productivity, enabler, literally. So, a simple way to start is to ask yourself, what part of my job is repetitive? What part of it is stressful or time consuming? And if you're able to answer, those questions, trust me, that's where AI fits in. Now, when I started, right, I wasn't an AI person, you know, and as a DevOps engineer, I was debugging pipelines and fixing, Kubernetes issues and writing scripts. So for those of us that are familiar with infrastructure and platform engineering, before AI, when we encounter issues with our scripts, we check Stack, Overflow. But right now, with tools like Copilot or ChatGPT, I can troubleshoot faster, write scripts quicker, and even understand errors that I've not even come across before, right? So you can see it's the same job, but I'm more efficient, right? So don't start with learning, with complicating things, learning, going, overboard, trying to learn AI models or trying to overthink things. You just need to start with how can AI help me in my current role, right? Maybe as an admin, how can AI help you with, those tasks that you do, frequently, or as an HR personnel, how does AI helps, with maybe screening CVs, you understand, drafting
Yeah.
letters, okay? So helping with those repetitive tasks like that you do on a daily basis, that's where you can bring in AI, to assist you. So AI is already impacting, it's impacting us, all of us, right? And you just need to see it. Okay. So for me, I think that's the best way I can say. If you have zero AI background, it's a buzzword, right? And you need to understand its impact on your career. This is just exactly how you need to sit back, just look at those things they are doing repetitively, okay, and see how this AI, helps you, with those tasks. So that's my answer to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Oluwagbenga. Thank you. I think the very instructive thing you said that jumped out also for me again really is you don't need to chase a lot of AI knowledge in quotes, a lot of tools, do a lot of things. Just focus really on This is what I do today. Where can I apply AI? Where can I introduce AI? What layer can I support any sort of tax representation? Then go for that knowledge. That's a good way to start. I hear that. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll move on now very quickly to Anyema. And Anema's question is somewhat be answered, but I think the second part of our question is where the is where the whole I will need that to share a little bit of more light. Now, our question really is around Anema. Do you believe AI will replace jobs or primarily augment human capabilities? Now, the second part is why.
Thank you for this question. I believe AI will do both.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
At the moment, we've gone beyond what will AI do or not do to see it's already doing. And I believe it will primarily augment human capabilities more than outrightly just replace jobs. It's already eliminating some tasks. Like, for instance, due to the rise of AI agents, we'll see tasks like customer service agents in centers being done end to end by these AI agents and being done very well.
Yeah.
And so it is expected that while it will not replace some jobs, it will replace tasks, like Imo already said. That's why I said it's already doing both. And historically, if we actually look at major waves of automation, for instance, the agricultural mechanization, industrial revolution, the computers, you see that several tasks were, eliminated and some new ones were created. The why here is going to be in the responsible part of AI, the ethics and the responsibility. So there has to be human in the loop for most of the things we do. For most organizations at the moment, people are still not comfortable giving AI that autonomy to do everything from beginning to the end. So people have to be responsible for the output the AI is giving. So, for instance, AI could do a legal brief, but like we've seen, several lawyers that presented what the AI said without actually going, looking through, were recently sanctioned by some courts in the US. That's responsible part of AI. Someone has to take responsibility. So while some tasks will definitely be phased out in this process and new ones will be created, like AI ethics officer, responsible AI officers in organizations, but it will primarily augment human capabilities and make us more productive, more creative, and more valuable.
Hmm. Hmm. A lot of wisdom going around the room, I would say. Thank you, Anyema. Thank you. Before I go to the next question, just to mention for those of us just joining the call, thank you for joining. This is the Malta Microsoft. This is organized by the Malta Microsoft AI User Group. A little bit of what we do by technology-focused community. We're dedicated to advancing knowledge in Microsoft AI technologies, cloud infrastructure, DevOps, intelligence systems, and more importantly, open source technologies are also very key for us. So yeah, pretty much high level of what we are all about. We're going to be dropping a link in the chat just to mention before I forget, and that gives a lot of information about what we do, our code of conduct, and everything you want to know about this community group. Right, now let's progress. I will be moving on now to Ezekiel. Ezekiel, what misconceptions, do professionals commonly have about AI and career transitions?
Thank you very much for the question. Basically, there are a couple of misconceptions that are out there that are putting fears in professionals. One of which is AI will replace me, say for instance, like myself, using myself for example, that it will replace me entirely, which is not true. And it's a point which most of us have surfaced on the call. which is actually very, on point for us to understand that AI cannot replace entirely who we are. So, for example, as a professional, there are some points at which our experiences spans over the years that you have built up some expertise around what you've been experienced in over the years. AI cannot entirely replace the fundamental rudiments, the fundamental pointers to what your experience can come off to explain at the end of the day. Because sometimes when it comes to complexity, when AI is trying to, generate some content or maybe come up with some coding tasks, within the confines of software engineers, there are steps to coding in terms of the structure of the code, how it should supposed to be, the design patterns of the code, starting with the basics of the code and all of those things. Anyways, for some entry-level jobs, AI is likely going to replace some of the entry-level jobs to some extent, but not entirely anyways, but just to be fair to, speak to reality. And regardless, the major point is that AI cannot entirely replace your domain expertise. For whatever areas that you work in, AI cannot entirely replace your entire experience. There are some things that that AI will not be able to find out. You'll be the only one to be able to talk to it, speak to the knowledge of it, because you know the domain very well as an expert within the domain. Then second misconception is that AI, I'm too old. Maybe I'm too old to transition into AI. Probably I'm too far into my career to transition into AI. That's fear of, okay, I think it's no longer for me. I'm past the time to start transitioning. AI is not coming to completely replace what you're doing. Despite whatever field you are in, AI has a role to play in it. Instead of transitioning, you upskill yourself to meet with the demands of AI. Because there is a recent study which says that between Microsoft and LinkedIn, that's mentioned that in terms of the hiring space, regardless of whichever role that you're in, the leaders tend to employ people who are already, upskilling themselves in AI rather than those who are not. So, and in that study, it also mentions that even if you are top of your game as an expert in your domain, if you don't have an AI skill to back it up, to some extent, you'll be left out of the market. So that brings me to the third misconception, that AI is only for the tech jobs, for the tech roles. It's not only for the tech professionals. It cut across every fields of study and every fields of expertise that we all play into. In the sense, the fact that regardless of where you're from, regardless of what area you're specialized in, AI is here to stay. Hence, the need for us to know at what point, in what way can we apply AI. It makes more sense to understand that application of AI, it's more prevalent or it's more demanding than building the AI itself. For example, how do you interact with AI? The AI influences what comes into play here, in the sense that how do you know how to apply the AI in within your workspace? Like if you want to prompt AI, how do you think that the prompt that you're giving to the AI tool is going to come up with the response that you're looking for? It all comes down to AI literacy. We all try to bring upskill ourselves to make sure that we're able to, walk our way through the AI revolution. We ought to also understand that we should learn the art of applying AI rather than thinking of building an entire system with an AI, which is part of it also. But the misconception is that we should also reduce that fear of having AI to not meet up with what it is that we're looking out for, especially with the context of we are too old or we can't catch up. The revolution is fast paced and we are not able to meet up. It comes down to that fact. So entirely, to sum it up all, when we come down to the applications of AI, especially with the current state of things in the US. There is some research from the FDA about the number of radiologists that have been upskilled. This is not just being replaced. They were upskilled with the necessary technology machineries. Within the radiology health space, you have radiographers who make use of robotic machines. And those robotic machines were being trained and manufactured or built into having AI feature or AI capability embedded within it. So it makes up that fact that hence you being a radiologist, you can be able to work with AI, not having the fear that those robotics is going to replace you as a radiologist. So the robotics is coming in to augment your task for you, to make it a little bit less time consuming, because that is the selling point of AI, to reduce the time you spend on, time consuming tasks and help you to be able to focus more on more important tasks, to reduce all of those aspects of the little challenges that we experience in our day-to-day work. So as professionals, we ought not to be afraid of AI. Rather, we should embrace AI to work with us and to be more fluent in AI, and as well to be inculcate to have the literacy of understanding how to be able to apply AI.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you. The challenge with misconceptions is that they're also mindsets. So if you don't take them off, they hold your mind, it becomes a stronghold. All right, I see the chat area is buzzing. Thank you, Ms. Steven. Thank you. HP has started using AI to enhance customer support. That's correct. Thank you. Let's keep it coming. And share our opinions. We have 23 minutes to go, so I will just implore the panelists to keep our responses to within 1 minute thereabouts, so that we can manage our time effectively. 1 to 2 minutes now, so we manage our time effectively. I think there's a lot to say, and we can, get more value from this. Now we're going now to our own resident security expert, Emmanuel. My question really is around, from your experience, Emmanuel, how quickly should professionals start adapting to AI trends? How quickly?
Well, thank you so much for that question. The answer is very short and simple. It is immediately. I will give myself as an example. About 2 years ago, I felt I'm a security architect. I don't need to use AI for my work. But last year, when I started having conversation with the founder of our community here, I started seeing what he was doing with AI, even though he's an infrastructure architect. He was doing a lot with AI. I had to key into what he's doing. So because of what Sunam said earlier, adapting, I had to start adapting to how can I use this AI in my daily workflows? What do I need to do? So I talked about it. Then Moses and Imo also mentioned earlier, system thinking. I started thinking, how can I use AI as a security architect? Then I started building solutions around, let me build a solution that can help SOAR team, solution that can help identity and access management team, build solutions around different tools that security architects and engineers we use. As even today, I was playing around GitHub Copilot, I was playing around it to build some solutions. This morning, I said, I don't need to leave my skill as a security architect. I don't need to completely retrain myself. What do I need to do? Learn the skills. I took a GitHub Copilot exam this morning and I passed because I've been using the tool for the past 1 year to build solutions. I'm not leaving my skill set as a security architect, but because I need AI, I need to embed AI into my workflows. I need to embed AI into what I'm currently doing as a security architect. Then having that skill set as maybe GitHub Copilot to help me build our solutions, integrating it into security, it goes a long way. That didn't mean that I'm leaving my security work. I'm doing my security work, but I'm only using AI to ensure that I'm optimizing what I'm delivering. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you. Quite instructive. Now we're going into, we've focused so far on, the awareness of AI, how it applies to our career, what AI is, and really what it means to our career. And now we are slowly transitioning to the next set of questions that's really around the do side, the DO side, the do side. What are the skills? What are the upskilling strategies? What's the transition strategy? I see a question from Simon. Just maybe Sonam can take that question alongside when it's your turn, if that's fine. But I really want Sonam to speak to that. So Simon will come to your question, but let's quickly move on to Imo. So Imo, I'm coming back to you before we go to Sonam. Now, Imo,
Okay.
in your opinion, what are the top 3 skills professionals must develop to stay relevant in this current AI-driven job market?
Okay, so thank you very much. I'll be very brief and short.
Thank you.
Based on what our conversation just right now, the top relevant, I will base my answer on 3 skills, 3 top skill. You need to be AI literacy. You need to be AI literate. You need to have that literacy around AI, how it is transitioning. We shouldn't be carried away that we have the plethora of tools, AI tool. We have ChatGPT, we have Copilot, we have Cloud. Cloud AI is doing a lot right now. But then, how do you use these tools? How do you use the tools? Most of us, we should be at the back of our mind that AI doesn't have knowledge on its own. It doesn't understand anything. In fact, it is as blind as a blind man. You can only, what it does is imitate the data that you and I put in. So if you must have the knowledge of how to use these tools, you must know AI. The other one is also based on my previous response, you must have problem solving skills and critical thinking skill. AI like ChatGPT tools can generate answers to your questions and all that, but you cannot critically define the right answers to your problem. When you get the AI response, your ability to filter it depends on your problem solving skills, and no one can take that away from you. And your ability to think critically in solving major real world problems. So another one is also for you to develop a continuous learning mindset. When you have the mindset to keep learning, just as every speaker on this call has hinted on this learning mindset. So the pace of AI is changing so unprecedented. In fact, every day as we speak, things are changing. Just 3 days ago, for most of you are familiar with Cloud. Cloud Opus 4.6 was the latest, but now as we speak is 4.7. So with a new add-on that make it to be 4.7, there's a change in the future that we must all be familiar with. Then you also need to know that tools will evolve, roles will shift. And also you need to also know that the real skill is learning how to learn fast, because the AI is evolving at a very fast moving space. And if you do not stay relevant, you will be left out. So one of the key takeaway that you must take away here is that even you might have the right degree, the best degree, which can get you started for sure, but your ability to continuously learn will keep you relevant. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Learning is a skill. I recall someone on this call is a senior DevOps engineer, Israel. I remember there was a time that he also mentioned to me personally and a group of mentees that the most important skill to learn is how to learn. That was very instructive, and it's one skill that's very important. You have to have a very open mind. Okay, we'll go to Sonam now, but Sonam, I really want you to combine 2 questions. There's a question from Simon. Simon is saying, I have been an IT administrator for over 15 years now. I want to start a full stack journey in React and C#, ASP.NET for backend. At this present dispensation in the era of AI, isn't it late for me to start this journey of being a software developer, as AI is being used to develop almost everything now? Or can I still go ahead and learn this concept and ignore the fast emergence of AI? Or should I pick another career entirely? So you will respond to that, Sonam, and also you would also respond to your core question around, for someone transitioning into AI-related roles, where should they realistically start? I see that they are related. That's why I want you to really take both questions. Thank you, Sonam.
Of course. Thank you so much. And thanks a lot for asking this question. I think many of us has this barrier from where we should start our career, right? So, Simon, I think I have answered your question, but let me answer this question as well, so you pretty much get what I try to make, what I'm trying to convince you, right? So, before even we started experimenting AI in our company, right? I was reading through a lot of articles around how the DevOps should adopt the AI, right? Because DevOps is my domain. Now, the most common mistake I see people make when transitioning into the AI, they try to become the AI engineer pretty much overnight, right? I was seeing a lot of poster or the courses are on the LinkedIn literally or the LinkedIn Learning personally, but I realize unless you are deeply technical, it takes almost 3 to 5 years journey for you to become literally AI expert, right? The smarter and the faster path is becoming the domain expert first, who understand the AI, not the AI person who hardly understand your own field, right? Now I think Simon, you can relate to it, right? So to all of you literally, I would say there could be three specific role which I see people can transitioning into the AI. The first is more the AI adjacent role, which is kind of you don't want it to get into the coding. Just think like prompt engineering or AI project manager or the AI trainer sort of roles. The second could be more technical upskilling. If you have, let's say, the analytical background, learn the Python basics, right? Or you are into the towards learning the ML ops. Pick one framework really and target the AI product role rather than the model research by its own. The third and the last one is honestly the smartest, the long term bet, right? It's becoming the vertical AI specialist. You can take your existing expertise and layering the AI on top, right? For example, let's say if you are the marketing professional, right? So marketing plus AI becomes the growth strategy. Healthcare plus AI becomes the clinical implementations. So the market desperately needs the people who understand both the worlds, right? Now, what you can do next, um, don't wait for any course or any certification to arrive at you. Just pick up one tool, any tool, literally. Go deep into it, use it to solve a real problem, the real world problem into your current job, right? Then only talk about it publicly, right? It could be the repetitive task you are doing it, how you can increase the efficiency within it. Think about it, right? The market right now really rewards the T-shaped people. And I remember this because way back when I started my career about 13 years back, my manager mentioned that to me. If you wanted to grow in your career, you have to be T-shaped person. And at that point, I barely remember or I barely relate to it what he's trying to say. But now I understood that, right? So that the T-shape awareness, the broadened AI awareness will be on top and your domain skills remain the T literally, right? It's making a complete T shape. Yeah, that's where I stands.
Awesome. Good way to end. I like the T-shape analogy. Super. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Yes, I see questions coming in, but just before I move to the next question, Israel, your hand was up before we go to Aziz. Israel, do you still have that question?
Yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Keep it short,
Good
please.
evening. Yeah,
Thank you.
good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this session. It's been I'm really good. I think I have a question, but it's tied to more of balance. Recently, in as much as we've seen the adoption of AI in a lot of organizations, we've also seen a lot of companies regret their decisions to replace humans with AI. Like we've seen, and these are top companies like IBM, we've seen for Salesforce, we've also seen for the popular Duolingo. Like, they went full blown, they had to, they sacked a lot of people to that they felt AI was on that verge yet, and then they later regretted their decision. And I guess my question now is, what is the balance? How do we, in a highly regulated environment where a lot of all these companies have built things from scratch upwards, how do you balance this speed of AI adoption that we're all, glaring about with governance, security, and maybe accountability, such that we don't end up making, or all these companies, or how can we learn from their mistakes of this so fast-paced AI adoption and then the regrets that comes in later? I believe there should be a balance. I don't know if anyone can talk more about that.
Yes, awesome. Okay, I know Sonam responded to the last question. Let's hear from Imo. Imo, how do you want to respond to
Okay.
Israel?
Okay, so Israel, thank you for your question. So, how do we balance the adoption with governance? That's your question, right, Israel? So right now, just as you've spoken about, companies made a mistake to really want to replace their employees with AI. So now, how to balance AI with the adoption with governance? There's what they call a human in the loop. And human in the loop means human beings serving as an AI reviewer. Just as we have in our institution, we have when you are writing your thesis in school, you have someone review what you've done. So the same thing is applicable to AI in an organization. So for a highly tight environment where there is a kind of regulatory system in place, there should be a strong human in the loop workflow. No AI design, no AI architecture should go out or should be even implemented without a strong AI committee. In fact, the best approach is having a team called AI Council. Many organizations can choose to call them by any name, maybe AI committee, AI council team, and all that. These teams are responsible for reviewing every AI initiatives, every AI governance, and also they are also the team that is responsible for being on the lookout for any regulatory policies coming up. We are all aware that the EU AI Act is coming up, and it will fully take effect about 2nd of August, if I'm not mistaken with the date, but then this year. So this team are those who are looking out for what is to be complied with the regulatory body in order not to be the victim. So there must be a team that's solely responsible for implementing human in the loop for every AI ideas in an organization to overcome that. Thank you.
Thank you, Imo. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, that directly answers so many questions we've been talking about, that AI does not replace you. I mean, there still needs to be that level of review by a human being, as it were. Okay, let's move on. I will just have to apologize in advance, because for sure we might be spilling slightly past 8 p.m. CET for those of us in Europe. Really apologize about that. So we might be extending this to 8:15 CET, if that's fine with us, with everyone. Thank you. Let's move on to Moses. I mean, another very important questions, right? Because people are torn between what to do in this area. Now, Moses, how important are IT certifications?
Just to add, sorry to interrupt,
Okay.
Assist hand is up. Assist hand.
Aziz, I missed you and I apologize, please. Yes, you go ahead. Thank you.
Good day, everyone.
Hello.
I just want to say, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Please, I just want to say something about the guy that says C# React career. Can I go ahead about it?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead. Just keep
Yeah,
it very.
the first thing the guy have to do is to go to different job opening platform. Let him look for minimum of 10 job opening about C# and React. That is full stack development. Let him gather the data and look for what they are targeting today. You as a full stack developer engineer, AI is not your master. AI is a tool in your hand because you are in charge of controlling AI to do what you want for security purposes. So ability to get what to do right is one of these things you have to ensure you maintain. Number two, you have to be in the right marketplace. You are a full stack developer engineer. You are looking for remote role. If you are not in the place where they can hand over their development workload into your hand because of security issue, you cannot get that job easily. So look at your environment. Look at maybe where you are. It is possible to get this full C# React job quickly and easily, because if you learn all of these things, you have invested a lot. It is frustrating not to get job. You know things, but nobody's getting to you because where you are or you don't get it right. Another thing is that for the things that you have seen so far, look for how to get the basic principle or advanced basic principle. Organize them into beginner, intermediate, advanced before you go to professional. If you can list all these things in order, I'm telling you, you will get your way right. But the final aspect is to be in the right marketplace.
Thank you, Aziz. A lot of response to your question, Simon. I'm hoping that most of these questions I've answered and allayed your fears on the direction to go. Thank you, Aziz. Thank you very much. I apologize again for missing your hand. All right. I was speaking to you, Moses, initially, and the question was really how important are IT certifications in career transition today?
That's actually a very good question. And I had a conversation with someone maybe about a week ago or 2 weeks back. I would say certifications have the importance of certifications have changed from being the gateway to, I would say, helping for targeted learning. Why do I say that? Right now, it is more important that you have the skill set and you have done the tasks or the projects associated with whatever it is you're trying to learn than it is that to have a certification. For example, if you were to today employ a senior DevOps engineer, you are not looking at whether or not they have certifications that shows that they can work on Kubernetes, Terraform, or even write code or policies or anything. You are more focused on have they written it before? What tools do they use to write it? And what is their thinking process? How do they think through resolving problems within that space? So certifications are good, maybe to get you through the door with HR, but they most likely will not help you get the job anymore. Now, what will help you get the job is the fact that you have the knowledge, you have the thought process, and then you have real life experience in doing most of those things. And that's why I would say certifications are maybe better right now for targeted learning. An example, say you are trying to get into AI, the domain is so wide and so large. For example, this is my first time working with any AI system. What should I be learning? Should I be focused on the security part? Should I be focused on the ML ops? Should I be focused on even training AI itself? There are so many things that it's possible to get it twisted because it's a very long rope. So what would be best, I would say, would be pick a certification lane and say, okay, I want to focus on AI security. There's a course from maybe Microsoft or somebody for AI security. If I follow that or Microsoft Learn, or I follow that path and then get to the certification part, I would have done a lot of hands-on project on the way to get to be able to transition. For example, say I am currently an IT support person. I would have gotten enough I've gotten enough hands-on experience to be able to transition before I get to the point of writing the exam. So the added advantage would then be that your certification helps you get through the door if HR really takes it serious. But for career transition right now, I'd say certification should majorly be used as targeted learning approach to help you have the thought process, to help you have the system thinking mind, to help you run through the entire project and the entire environment. Because of time, I don't stop here now.
Absolutely. I'm sure you have a lot to say because I was already enjoying that contribution. Thank you, Moses. Thank you very much. One thing I hear from you is certifications are good, right? But also let it be for targeted learnings, and don't take away the practical side of things to make sure that you are practically, getting your hands dirty with the real practical side of things, right? Thank you, Moses. I'll move on very, very quickly, and I'll ask again our panelists, I beg your pardon, to please just keep our answers a little bit short so that we can move to the next session. Now, the next is for Benga, Oluwagbenga. Can you share a practical roadmap for moving from a non-technical role directly into an AI-enabled role? A practical roadmap.
All right. So I will try and simplify this as much as I can, because
Thank you.
it's quite important, and many people, overcomplicate, this type of thing. So you don't need to become, uh, a developer or overcomplicate things, right? What you need is to become AI enabled in your domain, in what you do, right? So real quick, I want to list 4 practical steps that I feel would help you, transition easily. And number one, I would say you need to learn how to use the AI tools. That is, you can't take that away. Okay, you can't take that away, because uh, you're not without those AI tools, right? You can't go to the next level. You can't become AI enabled, right, in your domain, or become you can't differentiate yourself from other colleagues, right, that are not using AI. Okay. So this is not building AI tools, right? You can start with ChatGPT. That's one of the popular AI tools that we all know. So uh, we have a whole lot of them that you can literally just start learning how to use. Okay, you can learn how to prompt with these tools, right? That's knowing how to ask better questions to get the best out of these tools, literally. So like Imo said earlier, AI is developing at a rapid, rate. So you need to just learn how to refine, you know, whatever answers it is you are getting from AI, right? Learn how to probe it. You need to follow up with charts, or even providing examples. You understand? So with time, you get to see that you are beginning to master how to get the best out of these AI tools, and then you see you are literally very comfortable and confidence in what you are doing, and then you can easily literally take that leap of, okay, I want to transition into you know I want to go into an intermediate, role, or literally I want to now build my foundation solidly, with AI. So the second one, real quick, right, is just for you to see how you can apply AI to your current role. So you're not changing careers just yet, okay? You're only enhancing your role, mastering AI with your role, becoming AI enabled. And if you're in the marketing role, for example, you can think about how AI can generate content ideas for you faster. You understand? And then the third one, right, is to try and build small, real life use cases. Okay, you don't have to, just like Moses spoke about certifications, you don't have to be eager to chase certifications first, because that's just the truth about the whole thing, like Moses literally made mention of. So instead, build a small portfolio for your own self-review. Let me call it self-review, literally. Okay, maybe you can come up with, I used AI, to reduce this reporting time. Probably there's a task you do, right, about reporting. Okay, I use AI. I've used AI to reduce this, reporting time from 1 hour to 10 minutes, or I automated part of my workflows, using AI. So building a small real life, use case, it's going to help you, in like developing a portfolio for yourself. Okay. And the last one, right? It's going to be you would need to learn just enough technical awareness, right? I'm not talking about maybe deep coding or it's just understanding what AI can do, you know, and what it cannot do for you. So basic concepts like prompts, data automation. They are basic, key AI terms that you need to familiarize yourself with. So once you think, you're at a satisfactory level with these, you can start, taking a look at AI 900, which is like a solid foundation for AI. It is a Microsoft Azure AI certification, and by now you have moved from say your role specific to AI enabled, professional, right? So I would say you don't just transition into AI by changing your career. The transitioning, starts by upgrading, what you're already doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Benga. Thank you. That's a fair and very practical strategy. Thank you. Okay, because of time, because I already earlier promised that we should be done by 8:15 and we have 9 minutes to go. We'll be moving on to the next session. But just before we move on to the next session, there's a question I want to ask Ezekiel because it's a timely question at this time. And we might not be doing a lot of justice to this conversation if we don't hit on this question. But I also request that Ezekiel, you keep it at 1 minute, please, if that's fine. The question is really, without focusing on identifying a single best tool, what AI tools or platforms should professionals start exploring today, and how should they approach using them effectively?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, there are tech OEMs whom are the major players around AI, and they've all had their tools, spread out into the market. Let me put it into categories. So for general purpose assistants, like the likes of ChatGPT, OpenAI, the Google Gemini, the Microsoft Copilot, all of these are generally, available for some easy tasks in terms of document generation or summarization of content or generating any kind of content within the space. So based on that aspect, we can go to exploring, starting with the general purpose assistant, basically. Using the ChatGPT, you can also explore using that because already they were the ones who really actually started the generative AI, act of AI. So in that respect, they are able to come up with different tools that backs up the AI space, which also they are looking into extending the expertise around AGI that will include the act of human emotions and understanding how human interacts. So, but that is by the way. Then the second category of tools, which we can all look into, basically is around workflow integrations, the likes of Notion AI, the likes of Grammarly, which is actually very readily available out there, so for paraphrasing, because for the most part, generative AI is just basically generating content, right? So, and you need some paraphrasing tool to help you understand better some content that's been generated by AI, which Grammarly can come in there for that aspect. And then for some cases where you have coding reviews and coding around developments, you tend to go for tools like GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot actually is a pair programmer in the sense that it's more or less like your assistant when you're going through some development within AI. So it allows you to be able to generate code. It allows you to be able to peer review codes to align with the development structure and design patterns in place. So making those use cases come out as beneficial to you as a developer will be more handy to you as a tool using the GitHub Copilot. And in addition to that, we have the lovable AI, that is the vibe coding, basically. So I think that's a bit more easy on developers, that you don't get to think of the whole structure of the system yourself. You just use natural language to prompt vibe coding. For example, the lovable AI, you can use natural language to prompt to get maybe like to build a system. Just say what it is that you want, and then it comes up with the structure for you. And then you can be able to build up upon that, even if you don't have the experience. You tend to interrogate what it has been generated for you and find out what areas of specialization or what areas of notes that you need to take to ensure that you're able to apply the knowledge more effectively, so that you don't get lost into believing everything that AI gives to you. So it comes down to that fact. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you. Super. We just have 5 minutes to go. Fortunately, I know a lot of conversations are meant to happen. But just to mention that there's a lot of links being shared in the group, in the chat room. Please join join the WhatsApp community group. Engage. Solomon, someone wants will get to your question. Imo, can you respond to Solomon's question on the chat? If that's fine. Yes, Sonam, I'll just come to you, and then we'll close with Emmanuel, please.
Yep.
Now, Sonam, my question for you is, from a leadership perspective, how should organizations support employees transitioning into AI-driven roles?
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I believe the most organizations are making the same mistake. They are investing heavily into the AI technology and barely investing in the people, right? And people are the foundation for any organization. And they will be surprised when the adoption fails, right? So the tool is never be a problem. The transition is a real problem, right? So from leadership perspective, the first thing organization should do to kill the fear before they launch any tool, right? So people will have that tendency of once the AI is coming, my job will be at risk, right? So kill that fear first, right? Communicate effectively with the people that AI is not replacing, but we are redesigning the roles with the AI. And the second one is the structure upskilling, which has to go. It's a real investment, the dedicated time and the room for the experimentation and fail. And the last one requires the culture shift, which is the biggest one in the AI era, right? The organization should adopt the automation and experimentation. The organization that will win are not the one who deploy the AI fastest. They are the one that brought their people along with them. So hope this is clear now.
Yes, thank you, Sonam. Thank you very much. We'll close now with Emmanuel's question. More of is a closing remark, really, in my opinion. But before we do that, I will be sharing a link into the chat. Now we have upcoming events. This is not the only beautiful events we have. There are lots more coming up. There's the GitHub Copilot Dev Days, Build App with Microsoft Foundry and Azure developers. Some of these events are opening in the Microsoft office here in Malta. So feel free. I'm going to drop the meetup link. I've dropped it. Click on it, register for any of these events, and plan to attend. Remember, do. After learning, and then we do. Now let's quickly, in the next 1 minute, Emmanuel, that's fine if there's not so much of pressure on you. If you could give one piece of advice, Emmanuel, to professionals preparing for the future of work, what would that advice be?
Now, in an AI-driven world, right, your value is no longer tied to how much work you can produce. It's tied to the quality of decisions you can make and those decisions you can defend. Because now is the time for us to start optimizing for decision making. Today, AI is rapidly taking over executions. It can write for you, it can code for you, it can do documentation for you. So what remains valuable for us as professionals, deciding what should be done. That is talking about the system thinking earlier. Understanding that this thing that should be done, why does it matter? And at the end of the day, you want to evaluate what are the trade-offs, what are the risks. So at the end of the day, you are thinking, instead of saying, okay, what should I do? Or how should I do this thing faster? You start thinking, what are the right things to do? And how do I know that this thing is the real thing or is the right thing to do? Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Spot on and right on time. Thank you, everyone. I'll be dropping now a combination of links on the group. Please give us feedback. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel. So I'm going to drop the link right away. And also feel free, more importantly, to please give your review of the session on our meetup page. You know, what did we do right? What did we do right? And we'll promise that we will improve in subsequent sessions. Thank you, everyone. Very, very big thank you to our special guest speaker today, Sonam. Thank you very much. Also, thanking the community leads, the founder, Imo, the community leads, Emmanuel, and every other community leader. There will be time, a lot of time to mention names now. And thank you, more importantly, to everyone for joining. You made this session very, very, very special. Thank you, and catch you in the next session. Have a very good evening.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much,
everyone.
guys.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.